Okay, let's jump right in. If you're prepping for a test or honestly just want a rock-solid, crystal-clear breakdown of Catholic doctrine regarding the end times, you are exactly where you need to be. Think of this explainer as your ultimate hyper-focused exam review guide. We're going to take the source material, break down the exact definitions, and map everything out so it just sticks in your brain. By the time we wrap up, you'll have these core concepts completely locked down.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for the session. 1. Introduction to Eschatology. 2. The first step, death. 3. Divine judgment of actions. 4. The afterlife destinations. 5. The role of purgatory. And finally, 6. Exam summary and reflection.
Starting off with Section 1, Introduction to Eschatology, defining the end times. We really need a strong foundational vocabulary before we get into the timeline.
So if you see this word pop up on your exam, here's the exact, simple definition you need. Eschatology is the study of what happens at the end times or the end of the world. It's basically this broad theological umbrella covering everything we're looking at today. When we talk about eschatology in Catholic doctrine, we're really just analyzing the ultimate sequence of events that wraps up physical existence.
Which brings us to Section 2, the first step, death, the physical transition. We have to start with the very first of the final things.
According to our source material, death is defined very directly as the end of physical life, when the body ceases to function. Now, for your exam notes, you definitely want to highlight that this is specifically a biological cessation. This physical end is the necessary catalyst, right? It's the event that literally kicks off the rest of this eschatological journey. Every single thing we discuss from here on out follows this one biological milestone.
Moving right along to Section 3, Divine Judgment of Actions, Accountability for Our Earthly Lives. Let's look at the immediate aftermath.
So, the crucial point is that judgment means an individual will be held to account by God for the actions they've performed on earth. Notice the phrasing there. It's an individual accounting. The focus is entirely on your specific choices. Like, for example, if you spent your life dedicating time to charity and helping the poor, that specific physical action is weighed directly in this divine accounting.
It basically distills down into a simple, unbreakable equation. Earthly actions equal divine accountability. When you're writing out your exam answers, this is the exact dynamic you want to hammer home. God judges based on a direct correlation. The stuff you do here on earth directly translates into what you're held accountable for in the divine court. There is a direct, undeniable link between the life you lived and the judgment you receive.
Let's move to and see how this builds. This creates a really logical, chronological framework. Step 1, physical death. Step 2, divine judgment. Step 3, final destination. So the physical body stops, which triggers the divine accounting of your earthly actions, and that naturally leads to the final outcome.
Which takes us to Section 4, the afterlife destinations, heaven and hell. The two absolute, eternal, final states.
First, we have heaven. The source text defines this as a place of eternal reward for those who have accepted God, and they will be in God's presence for eternity. For your exam, lock in the two key components of this definition. It's fundamentally an eternal reward, and the nature of that reward is spending eternity in God's presence. It's the direct result of having accepted God during that earthly life we were just talking about.
Then, in direct contrast, we have hell. This is defined as a place of eternal punishment for those who reject God. They'll spend eternity outside of God's presence. You can see the absolute symmetry in the source material here. Heaven is an eternal reward for acceptance, resulting in God's presence. Hell is the exact, literal opposite, an eternal punishment for rejection, resulting in an eternity completely outside His presence. These are the two permanent destinations.
Now for Section 5, the role of purgatory, the transitional state. This one operates a bit differently.
This is purgatory. It's defined as a state before heaven of purifying, cleansing, and preparation of the soul to enter into heaven. The huge takeaway for your exam here is the word state and the phrase before heaven. You see, purgatory is not an eternal, final destination like heaven or hell. It's specifically a temporary, preparatory state. It serves this distinct purpose of cleansing a soul, strictly so that it can eventually enter heaven.
All right, let's bring it all together in Section 6, Exam Summary and Reflection. Let's lock this down for your test.
Catholic doctrine explicitly states there are 4 final things after death. I really want to emphasize this exact list from the source material: death, judgment, heaven, and hell. Now, you might be thinking, wait, where is purgatory? Well, as we just learned, purgatory is a transitional state. These 4 items right here, they are the definitive, absolute, final milestones. You'll definitely want to memorize this list.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole thing side by side. Heaven is an eternal reward in God's presence, hell is an eternal punishment outside God's presence, and purgatory is a temporary state of purifying, preparing for heaven. Having this visual mental model of how they differ is absolutely going to help you crush any compare and contrast questions on your exam.
We've covered the definitions, the flowchart, all the final states. But I want to leave you with a thought. Because honestly, studying eschatology isn't just about memorizing flashcards. As we've seen, the source text tightly links the end of the world directly to the actions of the individual. So if your eternal destination is determined solely by the actions you perform on Earth, how does understanding that change the way you live today? It's a pretty massive question about how our ultimate future impacts our immediate present. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Study hard, use these concepts, and I'll catch you next time.